Hi guys, this is Mike from OPETH and you're watching MULATSCHAG, the only TV you need.
How are the girls? I mean, Melinda must be in school now, right?
Yeah, she just started first grade.
How do you feel? Do you help her doing homework and stuff?
Well, there hasn't been too much homework yet, but I'll help, of course, if I'm kind of stressing out about that, because maths, for instance, that's not my strong side, so to speak, but you know, English, I know English. You know, she's basically, her school days, she's basically hanging out with her friends during the day. So when I come to pick them up, they don't really want to go home for the most part. But you know, it's different than when they were kids. Of course, they're more independent now.
Right. How did you feel at school? Do you remember those days?
Yeah, you know, like the early, you know, like when I went to, I can't say I remember it clearly, but you know, I had a good, you know, it was fun. You know, class 1, 2, and 3 was fun, and then it got more and more serious. I remember I had to have extra lessons to learn the clock.
Do you write more inspired by them?
No, I don't. I can't remember particularly writing a song that's been directly inspired by them, but maybe by your feelings, because you change a lot when you become a dad, yeah, or a mother for that matter. You know, like you change, and your whole outlook on life becomes different than it was before. You know, something you won't understand until you have kids on your own. So yeah, I think it helped me to write a little bit, but it's not like I've been writing tribute songs like Phil Lynott, you know, Sarah, whatever. You know, I haven't written any of those songs, like this sugary, sweet type of "I Love My Child" type of song. But I think, you know, my kind of emotional outlook changed a little bit. So.
Oh, have they asked you, like, hey, come on, Dad, write a song for me?
No, yeah. No, they never done that. Luckily.
Probably will.
Maybe, yeah, you know, probably happen.
In our last interview, you mentioned the world is a horrible place. Do you still feel that way?
Well, it is in a way, but it's also a beautiful place, you know. But I think the world in itself is beautiful. It's the people that makes it disgusting and ugly, I think. You know, natural disasters and stuff like that, I think that they happen, of course, you know, and it's part of nature, and some part of obviously, like whatever humans are doing to the planet might cause some shit as well. But I think humans, what I meant wasn't that the world was horrible, but that humans, like human nature, is kind of difficult to understand sometimes. Well, you know.
Well, do you think we can make it as the human race, or do you think
we're getting very deep now? Well, I don't know, to be honest. You know, I'm you know. It's hard to say, you know, things like, you know, when you read the news and stuff like that, you know, I'm not the only one who's thinking, fuck, things are going downhill, you know. It's more and more natural disasters, more wars and more killings and more rape and more crime and more everything. It's like
and more people.
More people and more poverty and starvation and all that kind of stuff. So I'm not really sure, to be honest. I try not to think about it too much. Kind of push those kind of negative feelings aside and try to live my life as best I can with my family and my friends and stuff like that. I'm not sure if I'm going to become the next heavy metal Bono, if you know what I mean. But
when you're on tour, do you watch the news, or do you keep it aside?
Well, you know, it's not like I was like, hush, you know, everybody shut up, the news are on, you know, it's, you know, I catch whatever. You know, sometimes you get a bit isolated when you're on tour. Yeah. For instance, when the Norwegian thing happened with the massacre and everything, we were we were somewhere, I can't remember where we were, and you get texts like, did you hear what happened in Norway? And you're like, no, what happened? So you get a bit isolated sometimes. for good and bad, I guess.
When was the last time you listened to Judas Priest?
I can't say exact date. It was probably a week or two.
Do you remember which songs?
The last album I put on was Sin After Sin, I think, which is when I go out walking, which I do as often as I can in the evenings. I like to go around just for an hour, walk around. If I play Judas Priest, it's usually Sin After Sin or Sad Wings of Destiny or Rock'n'Rolla. The 3 first records.
Yeah. Your band name is taken from the Wilbur Smith novel, The Sunbird. What was the last book you read, or you don't read at all?
I do read books, but I read biographies. I don't read many novels. And I like to read basically biographies. And about history, I get so frustrated sometimes because I don't know the Swedish, the royal history of kings and queens in Sweden. But not that it's useful knowledge for me. I just how the fuck, I don't know who the fucking, who was ruling the.
How many books do you bring on tour, or do you buy them on tour?
I buy them on tour, sometimes on airports and stuff like that. So last one was the Keith Richards book.
The Man Who Fell from the Tree.
Yeah, pretty much, exactly. Coconut. But that's pretty interesting, needless to say. I haven't finished it yet, but read those biographies. I read the Lemmy book and the Ozzy book, and I have a Rich Blackmore kind of biography as well that I'm reading on the toilet.
Oh, the Motley Crue. Have you read?
Of course, yeah, I read it when it came out. That was entertaining.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure you thought of, writing one of your own.
To be honest, I have been writing a lot, but it wasn't meant to be like a book. But it was an idea that started because me and I think it was Mendes, our bass player, was sitting around talking about, do you remember when this and that happened? And I'm like, that's right, I've forgotten about that. And it worried me a little bit. I never kept a diary and anything like that. So I started writing just to remember stuff that happened especially with the band. There's been a lot of stuff, like OPETH has been under the radar. We've never been one of those Motley Crue types of bands just shoving whatever dirt that we have in people's face, and it's clearly not as much as them, but I just started writing like a diary in retrospect, you could say. And all of a sudden, because I was writing on tour and I've written like 200 pages or something like that, and it was like, wow. So, but it's, I'm not sure. There's been actually publishing companies been asking if we want to do something like that. But we're not one of those bands. But so at this point, I'm just doing it for me to kind of to remember.
Well, of course. Even now coming back to your girls, but and some decades ago, they might go through your biography, finding out things like, gee, shit, that's our dad,
Yeah. No, we've never been, me personally, I've never been that outrageous, So I probably have some skeletons in the closet, whatever, but it's not like they're gonna go, my dad was a junkie in 1992 or something, I've been a good boy for the most part, So, but my memory is pretty bad, and I like to remember things, even if they're bad things. It's kind of good to,
So you continue keeping a journal, at least?
Yeah, I haven't been writing for a long time now, but we're going on tour in 3 weeks, so I'm gonna continue writing then.
What about your acoustic solo album?
Not working on it right now. It's not something that's like a big priority for me right now. But I did.
It sounded like it. Like, let's say 2 years ago, you were.
Yeah, maybe. But it was just something I mentioned, And all of a sudden, I'm getting asked a lot of questions about that stuff, and I haven't really started.
People are curious about it.
Yeah, they're curious, and that kind of made me go, maybe I should do something like that, because I thought it would be kind of lukewarm interest for a thing like that, but I might do it. But I have the new OPETH record, and then I've done this record with Steven Wilson that we're going to put out next year. So maybe, and also we're going to be touring a lot, and I'm not creative on tour, so I'm not going to write anything until we go off this tour, I think.
So you really would have to take, let's say, half a year off to work really hard on it.
At least. Yeah. But if I do a thing like that, it's going to be very simple. Something I can record back home. MULATSCHAG!